Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Preeti Jain. I usually put fashion and lifestyle content, but today we are starting a new segment called Let's Connect. And we have a very special guest today. We have someone who can communicate with animals. And the best thing is that she can actually give us messages, whatever our pet is thinking, what we wish to know, does our pet feel loved or not, any type of question. She has all the answers. And not just that, the best thing is that also if you have lost your pet or anyone that has lost their pet, they can actually go to someone like Komal and they can communicate with her. They can take her help and she can actually talk to your animals, your pets, and give you messages. So let's start this session. I'm so honored to have her on the show. I actually met her from my pet's reading. I have a pet dog called Coco, and I just got such accurate answers from her, and I was like, I need to have her on my show. And I just hope this entire show helps you guys to know and understand that yes, your animal, your pet, they actually understand you, they talk to you, and even they have their own way of communicating with you. And if you are finding it difficult, you can always take someone's help. You can take, people's help who can communicate with animals. And that's why we have Komal here today. She'll tell us about her journey of how she started communicating with animals. And so, yes, let's start the session. So, I think we can start the session, Komal. I'm so excited. So, this is the first segment of Let's Connect. And this is
Um,
some So we are planning to cover topics that are very interesting, very unique, and of
mhm.
course, something that you do is quite unique and interesting. So I'm so excited. I came across, one of my friend. I was really concerned about my dog, and I always thought, that he wants to talk to me. And I didn't know where should I get messages from him. I had heard about people who do this, but I didn't know, I didn't know anyone because I'm more connected to spiritual people. So I have a circle which is quite who are into healing, but I didn't
Mhm.
really have anyone who communicates, with the dogs. So finally, when my friend gave me a number and I got a session done, I was like, oh my God, she's bang on. It's so accurate.
I'm so glad.
So that's why I think now we all of us would love to know your journey. So let's start. First, tell me, how did you start communicating with dogs?
Honestly, I came across my guru in about 2015. I just read about her on Facebook, and sort of just felt it to be too intriguing, like you did,
Okay,
and just happened to call randomly that let's see what this is, let's check it out. The minute I spoke to her, they had a workshop that they were teaching animal communication about,
okay,
and I just went for it. I don't know, as if it was just calling out to me, sort of. It just felt so different, and it was something that I wanted to experience. I couldn't believe it that there was something like this also, and
okay.
that's the reason I actually ended up signing up for the workshop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was a 2-day workshop that was teaching us the basics.
Okay.
And day one, we were already talking to animals, and it
Oh,
was it was surreal. It was beautiful. That feeling, I cannot put it into words because when I did my first communication on during the class, I was telling the person opposite to me. He was also one of the student, describing his dog exactly how it was. And
wow.
my fellow as student as well as me were looking at each other in like complete surprise that how is it possible? Like, how am I describing his dog so well without ever meeting that person? Also, like I was meeting the person on the course, like I'd never seen him earlier. So yeah, it was beautiful.
So it must
That
be
feeling was
actually,
beautiful.
yeah, it must be so surprising, pleasantly surprised you must be, like because describing a dog that you have never seen and describing the way he looks or he or she looks, and then
Everything
nature.
was, yeah, everything was bang on. And I am like, how? And then he showed me the picture of his dog. And
Oh
I was
my
like,
God,
wow, this is the exact dog that I was referring to. And I mean, it was brilliant.
that's amazing actually. And this was
Yeah,
in 2015.
yes.
Okay. So when you started those 2 days workshop, so this was one of the experiences. So do you feel that you kind of were intuitive before, and that's why you could kind of learn more easily whatever was being taught in the workshop?
Honestly, I have been intuitive because I've done a few courses before, but this is absolutely nothing to do with intuition. Like, you don't need to be attuned to yourself or any of those things. I
Okay,
have had people who, after knowing my journey, have gone ahead and pursued the courses themselves.
okay,
And just for the kick of it, that how is it possible?
yeah.
And they're doing so well themselves that they were shocked themselves that we didn't know we had it in us to do this.
Oh. So basically, when anyone is doing course or anyone is interested in learning how to communicate with animals, they don't necessarily have to be that intuitive. This is something that
Harness.
can be taught.
So I'll tell you what we've learned is that humans and animals always had a sort of communication, even in our ancestral period. There always was a tandem, how nature worked and how humans worked, and it's us now who have forgotten all those abilities and become way more modern, I would say,
Yeah.
forgetting our roots and not being able to connect with nature around us. But if you see, nature is always telling us something. There is always a slight message that the leaves around us, the trees around us, the animals around us are giving us. It's just that we've stopped reciprocating. So if
Yeah.
we just open up those channels, everybody can do it. In fact, there must be times, like you yourself said, that you thought your dog always wanted to talk to you.
Yes.
So probably if you would be also able to hear what she wants to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree with you actually, because I have kind of, always been very curious about how, the entire universe in their own way is talking to us. In its,
right.
and
Yes, of course.
especially if you see our Indian culture, we kind of pay so much of respect to nature, to trees and everything. So that's why I did feel that, yes, if we pay attention, there's always some form of communication that is going on. And
Definitely.
so yeah, that's actually quite interesting, because I had this notion that you need to be little bit intuitive or psychic to get into this, but it's actually very refreshing to know that anyone can learn it.
Yes, yes, all of us have this innate ability in us. It's just that we don't tap into it because either it's not very important for us, or we've never given it a thought, or we're just too busy with our lives to be able to think about something like this existing.
Yeah, and
So,
sometimes we think we can't do it also. Some people
yeah,
don't
yeah.
even
Also, that
know there's a way, to
there's
do
nothing
this.
like, if I even tell, like, you won't believe, like, people who I know closely also, even then, even if I'm telling them I'm able to do this, they're not ready to believe it. They're like, you've lost it. You're just saying something this, like, it's not possible. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like not everyone understands it also, Some people they kind of they just they think it's not possible, to be very
It's
honest.
not possible.
That is the
Yes.
way they think. But after you learn the course, Komal, uh, was it just dogs you were taught to communicate or all sorts of animals?
All living beings.
Acha, all living
Every
beings.
Yes, yes. You can
And
come
then,
in, basically interspecies communication over just canine or feline or equine. It's interspecies. So it could
oh.
be a small bug, it could be a lizard, it could be a tree, it could be anything that you could, like, every living being is something that you can communicate with.
So anytime you see a lizard in your house, can you ask that lizard to leave? Can it be as
That's
simple?
what my mother-in-law says.
Or maybe a mosquito, you have going with your family to a jungle camp and you're like telling the mosquito, please don't bite
Don't bite. There are cases people have actually done that and found results. So yes, we can.
So there are multiple advantages of doing this, you know.
Oh, definitely, definitely it
Doing
is.
kangaroo
Just
kind
tell
of
the
area.
mosquitoes don't bite.
No, no, I shouldn't be your cup of tea, you know, your cup of blood. Let you someone else be that.
Let it be someone else. Of
That is
course.
actually amazing, you know. So, Komal, after you did the 2 days course, then how was your journey like? Like, how did it progress? Was it immediately that you could communicate, or you took time to kind of, uh, get into it?
Honestly, I could communicate, like I said, on the first half itself of the day. But for me to be able to accept it, that I'm able to do this, took a while. Like I was always doubting myself, even when I was getting results or answers from the animals that I was speaking to. I always had a self doubt that maybe I'm not right, maybe something here is wrong, maybe these are my own thoughts that I'm putting
Mhm.
into words. That at least took me a long time to come, face to face with that. No, this is what I'm actually doing, and this is actually the animal saying this to me.
Was there
So,
any particular incident which made you kind of trust that no, this is, I mean, a valid message I'm getting, you know, it's not my own thoughts or any
multiple,
experience. Okay.
multiple of them, but one of it was um, there was a girl who contacted me because her dog was lost.
Okay.
And while being on call with her, I gave her exact directions and exact messages that the animal is providing for her to be able to find the dog.
Oh, wow.
And
That is
everything I said
amazing.
in image in my head was actually everything that she saw. And
Oh,
that's exact place the dog told me about where he could be found was exactly the place where she found the dog,
oh, wow. That's
including the
amazing.
color of the walls, including the color of the door, like how this would look, how the person was looking, every single thing. The dog was so brilliant that he explained it so well that it just
Ah,
made it so easy for the owner to find him. And that case still date gives me goosebumps because that was one of
yeah.
my first few cases, and that's when I was like, okay, I think I can do it.
I think I am capable, you know, it's not something I'm
Yes.
assuming. And this was any time, do you remember which year? I mean, somewhere around like 2015, you did the course. So this
15.
was around, oh, wow,
15.
that's the
Yes.
same year. Oh,
Yes.
this was
Yes.
like bang on immediate validation, you know, very soon you
Yes.
got
Yes.
it. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Definitely.
That is actually, you know, something like this, Komal, it kind of gives you that you know, like how you say we get so lost in our lives, that something like this gives you so much of, you feel so you know, it feels like it's your life purpose because you're
Yes.
helping someone, you know, like for us, at least people who have animals, I mean, sorry, animals as pets, for them they're babies. And then,
Of
you know,
course.
you let them find their dogs, is like, if I imagine that with Coco, and if someone helps me do that, that person is as good as a god for me.
Of
Because
course.
it's like,
Definitely.
you know, it's a
I mean,
very
I
big
would
thing.
think the same thing, but honestly, we are just a medium of communication. The animal gives the information, we just pass it on. It's not that I'm doing something great. It's just the animal is actually working hard to pass on the information. So when you're doing missing cases, or you're communicating to pets who have already passed by, it's beautiful because to be able to connect with a soul that has already gone by, and to give that reassurance to the parents about whatever their questions were, it just brings so much love out of you because you're
Yeah,
seeing the parent being so grateful to you.
yeah,
And it's just beautiful. It's something that you can't express because uh, for me myself, if my dog had to move on and I had to get a message from him, I would like cherish it the most in my whole life.
yeah,
So being able to do that gives you a lot of appreciation, of course, but it gives you a lot of like a really really good feeling. Like you feel so full of love that my God, I am actually able to do this. Like the animal
mhm,
actually loves me so much to be able to pass this message on.
yeah. So,
He
very
trusts me.
interesting. Yeah, the animal trusts you. That's true.
Yeah.
And Komal, one more thing, like you said that the dog, the missing case, the dog was able to communicate very nicely with you. Like, you know, the dog could describe. So when they give their messages, Is their ability of comprehending important for them to be able to communicate with you easily?
It entirely depends on the animal. Sometimes it is difficult for them to be able to describe it as how we would see it. It's also actually the human's ability then to be
Yeah,
able to comprehend it, because the dog will give the message as it sees from its level.
yeah.
But it's actually the human's ability, honestly.
Yeah, because you know what happened? I asked you, my pet, he's a male dog, he's Coco. So I asked if Coco wants babies. So, you know, he wants to be a father. So the reply I got was that he's not understanding the question, you know, like
The
he doesn't
question,
know
yes.
what it means. So, you know, that is very cute because I actually never, you know, he meets other dogs, but then he doesn't know that I can be a father, you know, like, so basically
Yeah.
animals also, they would give answer with what they know about things
Know
around them.
about, yes. And reproduction in animal kingdom is way different than in human world.
In what
For them, it
way?
is more about their pack, more about trying to
Oh,
increase their pack, and not just because they feel like doing it. So it's very different. The whole purpose is very different. Reproduction as a whole is very different for them.
be it all animals, it doesn't matter. Like the main thing for them is the pack thing.
Yeah, for them, survival is more important.
Yeah,
For us, it's not only about survival.
yeah. But then,
So
say, what were you saying?
saying usually humans misunderstand it that, oh, because the dog is humping, maybe it wants to make babies. But humping could result like humping could be a lot of issues that the dog already has. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily feeling like humping a female dog.
Yeah, that's right. Because I asked you the same thing, and you said that he's humping because he's got so much of energy. He doesn't know what to do with that
Yes,
energy.
yes.
So that is the thing. I was like, oh, that's the thing. I was like, okay, because it kept on making me think that, okay, should I make him, hump a female dog? Does
Yeah.
he want kids? Does he want to have the real experience, you know? Because I've kept a
For
stuffed toy for him.
them, they don't understand it so much. Like, of course, there are certain female dogs who have gone on to say that they would want to reproduce or they would want to have babies. But I usually, from whatever in my experience, have never found it to be a huge concern for them.
Okay. And do
Yeah.
they get emotionally attached to their kids, Komal, like how we kind of love our kids and all, or it doesn't matter for them?
I have never come across something like that for me to be able to say. Like, not once has anyone said that. So
Okay. And another thing is, Komal, so you communicate through pictures, or is there any other thing? Like, for you ask for a picture when you need to communicate with the animal, like when you get clients or anyone who wants to go ahead with it. So, what are the ways that you see, or you know, for me, like I gave you a picture. So, is that the only thing people do, or is there anything else?
So there are times when people don't have a picture also. They just remember their dogs from very old times, like when they were children or something, and they want to communicate. At that point, a name that they used for the dog also works.
Oh,
I'm referring to dog because most cases I get is for dogs or cats.
okay,
Very few for horses, and very, very, very few for any other animals. So
okay,
usually it's the ratio of dogs is high.
okay.
But yeah, then we use the name that they refer to. I just take a picture so that it helps me really make sure that I am connecting to the same animal that you're referring to.
Okay. So basically, even if someone they just know the name and they don't have a picture, then also you can communicate with the name they used to call the dog. And
Yes.
so, Komal, the dog has to be living, any animal actually, they have to be living or they have passed away, and then also you can communicate.
After, even if after they've passed away, we can talk to them. Actually, you're
Okay.
connecting to the soul, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter where the soul is.
Okay. Even so, any particular experience you've already said about the lost missing experience. Do you know, Komal, recently Paris Hilton, she had posted she lost her pet. Are you aware of that?
Sorry, no.
So what happened? Paris Hilton, she had a pet dog. The dog's name was Diamond Baby, and she kept on
Okay.
posting that she's lost the pet, you know, because she was doing some photo
Okay.
shoot. and the dog went away. So she's like,
Ran
the door was open. So either the dog ran away or she's a celebrity. So someone took the dog, just to trouble her, whatever. And I think it's been 2 months. And, she kept on saying that I'm in touch with dog whisperer, I'm in touch with dog psychics, I'm trying to get in touch. And she did put a reward also, that anyone gives me this thing, the location, or, fine, no questions will be asked. I'll give you 10,000, I think, dollars or something. But I don't think she found, because she's still posting it. So, that time when I saw that, I remembered you. I was like, oh my God, like, does Komal do these things? And then I got my answer that actually, because finding a lost dog and you're being a medium to make that happen is like, it's
But
like,
I'll
it's
tell you
a
what,
blessing.
no, honestly, also sometimes it results in disappointment when you are giving all the clues, but it's difficult to comprehend and find the dog. Sometimes you don't end up finding them.
So something like that
Sometimes you don't.
happened? Anything like
It
that?
usually, it always, it is, it's always there. There are stray dogs who don't want to return back, who refuse.
Ah,
Not even stray. So even if you're feeding a dog, and he has moved areas, sometimes they don't want to return back because they find more comfort there. But the parent is anxious. No, no, no. I want my
yeah.
stray back. But there's nothing you can do about it.
So when the dog
Then
doesn't want to come back, Komal, you get the message also. The dog tells you that I don't want to come back.
either they will straight up tell me not interested. Either either
Take the
they will
hint.
tell. Yes. Either they will be like, okay, the family needs to change certain things about what the dog doesn't like or is worried about. Only then I will come back. There are times when the dog says he's left out of choice because of XYZ reasons. And, he needs to finish his tasks that his journey is on this planet. So
Okay.
he or she will not return back. So there are multiple times that the animals don't come back.
Okay, okay. So the animal has a choice. It's like they have gone away voluntarily, and they
Sometimes they
are
do.
okay, okay.
And
And
sometimes,
so,
unfortunately, they meet with accidents because they are on
yeah,
the road and they don't realize how to save themselves. And that's the most difficult part, because how do you tell the parent that the dog is no more?
yeah, and you're being a medium, you're the one who's going to tell them that, letting
Yes.
them know. So is
Yeah,
there any
yeah.
time that you got to know that the dog is not there anymore, and the dog has passed away? Yeah?
There were a couple of cases, yes. And you
Oh,
have to be so gentle in informing the parent, because see, at this point the parent also starts doubting that, no, she's probably not saying the right thing, because I will still find my dog.
yeah,
So that war amongst their own selves, that whether should I believe her or should I go still search, is also
yeah,
something that puts the parent in a dilemma.
yeah. I
But
think that
you
parents never stop searching, because it's a human tendency कि जब तक देखते नहीं है ना, तब तक एक
नहीं होता
उम्मीद
है.
रहती है, it's like
Of course,
what if,
of
the
course,
love
of course.
makes them kind of, it's not that they don't trust what you're saying, it's for their own satisfaction that the love is pulling them to keep searching.
Of course, and it's human tendency, right? You
Yes,
want to be able to see it or feel it or touch it, that to believe it.
to believe it. And Komal, one more thing is that when animals uh, are like, we humans have life purpose. We are kind of more logical. We can communicate like verbally and all. So do animals also have life purpose? Is
Definitely.
yeah,
They come into your lives for a reason. And, they, like everyone has heard that animals do take on the pressures of the household.
yeah,
Most cases that also happens.
okay,
So, they're the first ones to leave because there is a medical issue that they've taken up on. Not necessarily all animals do it, but there are animals who do all that. Then there are animals who've come in your life to teach you a certain thing, or make you realize what you need to be able to do about a certain situation. So there are multiple things that the animal is there for.
and what about these animals? Like, some animals, apart from us humans, they come in our lives for a reason. But apart from that, do animals also, like some people are healers in human form? Like people are
Yes.
healers.
Yes.
So do animals also have some dogs as healers who can kind of heal the other dogs, or is it something
I
like
think
that?
all of them are healers. They are our happy space, right? Every time you are
Yeah,
low, every time you are sick, every time you're not feeling okay, it's your animal who's sitting by you
yeah,
24/7 without
yeah,
moving
yeah.
a
I can
foot,
feel
you
that
know.
completely. Like for me, I cannot imagine my pet. I can't imagine my life without Coco now. He's like my baby, and if something happens to him, I'm gone. I cannot operate. Like for
Of
me,
course.
वर्क वाइज मेक जितना स्ट्रेस आना है आ जाए पर्सनल लाइफ जितना आ जाए बट इफ ही इज नॉट वेल आई विल स्टॉप आई जस्ट कैन नॉट ऑपरेट सो
So that
apart from them helping us, like do they help each other also,
in terms
dogs?
of like healing,
Yeah, in terms of healing, in terms of sharing, like do they have their ways of talking to each other and telling each
of
other?
course,
Is it?
definitely, definitely. And in fact, if you tell me out of 10, 6 cases that I get of multiple dog households, the first dog will never like the second dog
Yeah,
because they will be like, my attention is going away. I
yeah,
wanted the family for myself. Why did the family get another dog? Because I don't want another dog.
yeah,
Probably there's a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old in the house, and the family went ahead and got a puppy home. But the
yeah,
puppy and the 10-year-old's energy will never match. And then
yeah,
the 10-year-old left out because are now no one needs me. There's a puppy in the house.
yeah.
So most 6 cases are those that we don't like the other animal in our house.
It's like even
And
babies, even human babies. Like when you have the
yeah, yeah,
first
yeah,
child and you get a second child, the first child is always insecure
always gonna
and
feel left out.
left out. But like when like animals when they meet outside, two dogs, like when my dog is going for a walk, or when they meet outside other dogs, do they talk? Like do they communicate in their
Always,
own way?
always, they're always communicating in their own ways. Even for a male dog to put their leg up and pee is a sign of communication, right? That this is
Okay.
my area, I
Yeah,
don't
the
want any other
territorial
male to
thing.
come. Yes. Also, that's another way of them marking their whole walk path, so that if ever they get lost, they were to smell their own scent and come back home.
Oh, is it?
Yes, that's also they do try like anything familiar when they're lost or anything. Every scent that they take, they try and find a familiar scent that they can come back closer to house.
Okay.
That's
So
why
when they
there are
pee
times
and this piece leaves that smell, so it's like it kind of is their way of going back to where they came from also.
yes, because every time if you ask a dog that is lost to come back home, one of the ways is if the dog is saying that I'm at a certain place, to leave a scent of your clothes that you worn, or a clothes that you have, like maybe some pee of his or something, to leave a trail of those clothes so that the dog can find familiar scent and come back home.
Ah, it's like the breadcrumbs. In one
Yes.
story we heard na when we were kids that one kid used to leave breadcrumbs. Oh my God.
Breadcrumbs, yes,
This is
yes.
actually very interesting to know. I mean, now come to think of it, they are so smart. They're so intelligent.
Extremely, extremely. I'll tell you an incident. When I was expecting my child, I wasn't aware about it. Like, it was not even in my head that it could be that I'm pregnant. My dog comes and sniffs my tummy, and he looks up to me like with big eyes. And I'm like, okay, I got what you're saying. I immediately got myself tested and I was pregnant. So,
Oh my God.
yes,
So you got your good news from your one baby.
yes, yes. And the look that he gave me is in my head till date, that I will never forget it. It was so precious that the way he looked up to me, it was beautiful.
Because it was like so much of emotions for him also,
Yes,
that
yes.
someone new is gonna come and all. And
And
yeah, yeah, what were you
sorry,
saying, Anne?
no, I'm
I
saying,
forgot.
I'm saying for it to come from him. And I'm also thinking, is he saying something correct? Like, how is it possible? What is he
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So
Oh my God,
it
that
was
was
also
actually
kind of my
cute,
own
huh?
validation. Yeah, 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 definitely.
Also, Komal, so all the cases, like when you started telling people you communicate with animals, uh, how, like your family, how did your husband take it? Like, what was his reaction? Your
Till
parents?
date, till date, my husband thinks You are like Munna Bhai MBBS, there's chemical loads in your head. So,
Yeah, I'm sure,
in spite
because
of,
guys, their logical thing will always work, they'll be like, what are you doing?
in
So
spite
he
of him
thinks
seeing,
like that.
in spite of him believing it in some ways, he will still be like, okay, okay, whatever.
ये whole like one अलग ही level का चल रहा है यहाँ पे
Yeah,
कुछ भी चल रहा है.
though,
Yeah,
of course, see, I know for a fact that he knows that it is what it is and, he appreciates it all the time. It's just that he doesn't want to accept it. Like, I'm not accepting you do what you want to do.
yeah, because I mean, when you solve cases, it's like that, you're solving. See, when I'm missing dog cases, then you're like solving cases. So, yeah, Komal, this is very interesting. Can animals know what is going to happen in future?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes probably they do and they don't inform us about it. But most times they can gauge it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like, say, for example, I was changing, recently I shifted to a new place. So, like, did my animal kind of, my pet Coco, did he know that I'm going to shift to a new place?
If I remember, one of your questions was related to the house,
Yeah,
and your Coco had only
yeah.
said that I would get it off in a different house.
Yeah,
So
he
there
was
you
like,
got
I'm very
the
happy
answer.
about whatever is happening. You're like, he's just excited and happy and everything like that.
Yeah, so he knew that this was happening. Probably
Oh.
he initiated it you by saying that okay, this is not how I like in this house. Let's just move because he was not okay with the energy of that house. I remember. So yeah.
He was not okay with a dog walker, and eventually the dog walker changed because I changed the house,
Yeah,
and then the
yeah.
dog walker
Also,
changed.
I remember, you used to look at a corner and bark, right?
Yeah, yeah, I never got an answer for that. I asked you, I said, Komal, is anything paranormal happening in my house?
No,
Because he used to
he
just
was
look
just
at that corner in the
he
night,
just
that
used to not
too.
like it.
ऐसे बैठ के I am like, and हम लोग को बोलते हैं ना कि dogs can see spirits,
Yes,
ghosts. So
yes,
I used to get more
yes.
scared. I'm like, क्या देख रहा है जो मुझे नहीं दिख रहा है. So I used to get scared. So he could
And
sense
now the barking stopped, right?
yeah, now it stopped
So
completely. अभी
he
तो
was the one.
and maybe he's the one actually in new house. There's no corner that he's seeing ऐसे बैठ के अभी तक.
He wanted you to change the house. He made it happen.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
think he made it happen because oh my god, I was like, I used to think पता नहीं उसको time लगेगा adjust करने में. Little did I know that it's other way around. He's making it happen.
They are
So
very
yeah,
smart, I told you.
actually they're very smart. But like how it's like here he made it happen. So like sometimes if they are not wanting it to happen, but if it is happening, if the we are talking, like say for example with our family members कि हाँ घर बदलते या कुछ भी करते, so can they understand our language? What?
Of course, they're all listening. In fact, most dogs are very panchats. They want to be able to hear and listen to everything that is going on in the house. They're watching you constantly. Their ears are listening to everything that you're talking. So they know everything that's going on in the house.
So what the language we humans use, they understand that
Of course,
आपस
of
में.
course, of
Like
course.
not with the dog. Like even if you're talking, say for example, you're talking to your husband, so your dog will understand what you're talking.
Yes, definitely.
Really?
Yes,
And
yes,
is it
definitely.
is it all animals, like not just dogs? It's a lizard, yeah, uninvited
Every
pets also.
every animal will give you an answer. There have been cases where the families that were supposed to be broken because of separation or divorce or whatever have got answers through their animals.
Like how?
So, not something that I would want to disclose because it's something very personal per case. But yes, there are times when because of the pet being in the house and being able to see, hear everything, they've been able to solve cases of not only separation or divorce. They've been able to solve cases where the helps were stealing or the helps were doing something that the helps shouldn't be doing, and cases where there were black magics, cases where people were coming into the house without the owner knowing. So
So
all of
can
those.
you share any of the black magic story just randomly ऐसे करके? This sounds little interesting.
There are a couple, but I'm not sure I should be sharing it.
Okay. And any nice incident of a dog which really touched your heart, it's like you still remember to date, and it was a very cute, probably, episode, anything that while reading it touched your heart
See,
a lot.
every interaction is very, very close to my heart because the dog pours out its heart to me. So every interaction is beautiful in its own. But my most special one will be with my own pet that I had as a child, who of course passed away when I was probably 15 or 16.
Oh.
So
So
being
you
able
were
to talk,
always surrounded by dogs. You were always the animal
yes,
lover
I have
growing
always
up.
been an animal person. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So
So
what
it
was
was
your
more easier
interaction with
to
him
just get
when
into the
it
flow.
was a him or a her, your dog, the first
It
dog?
was a her. It was a her.
And what was her name?
So Sony.
Ah, cute. So what was the interaction after you learned? The first thing you might have done was communicated with her.
Actually, it was not the first thing. I did it after a while,
Okay.
and being able to connect with her was so precious that it was just like a very, very good feel good factor for me, that I can talk to my own pet who I've been missing for so many years, because she's a crucial part of my childhood. Like growing up, she was always there and all of that. So it was very nice, but it was a very brief interaction, but at least I knew that I could always connect to her.
Yeah, that's always
For
special.
Yes,
It's like she never passed away, because that
she's always watching.
communication is, yeah, open, it's there. That's
Yeah.
actually very, very cute. This is one of the advantage of, having your gift actually. Anytime you can talk to your own pets. It's like one
Yes.
extra noise. Cute
Oh,
one, but.
yes, definitely.
So yeah, this is an interesting thing, Komal. Do you think talking to animals is kind of your life purpose?
So I'll tell you what, after my current pet came into my life, that is Rocky, he led me to animal communication. Also, then he came to me with a lot of issues, like all four of his joints were affected and he had hypothyroidism. Slowly, on talking to him, I learned that I need to do something about his nutrition, and I went on to become a canine nutritionist as well.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
So he actually chalked out the way for me that this is what it should be and this is what you should be doing. So as my own passion, I am also a canine nutritionist. So if you say animal,
Wow.
I always need to do something with animals probably.
And did you cure him, like because of your nutrition, everything you studied? Did it help him with the hypothyroidism?
So it's not something that we can cure, but of course we can manage it really well. He's
Okay,
10 years old now,
okay,
because he was already an old, like an adult dog when he came to me.
okay.
He's 10 years old now, but we're still managing him quite well. Of course, there is still a bit of joint pain and stuff, but every parameter that needs to be taken care of is looked after. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. And this was how long the course of the nutritionist, like an eye nutritionist?
It took me about, so I finished it in about 6 months, but it took me about a year to actually learn everything well.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So, like, do you do that also? Like, for dogs, like you consult as a
Yes,
nutritionist also? Oh,
yes.
wow. And it's added advantage because apart from, knowing what to give them, you can always ask them what they want to eat.
Do you like it?
You were saying, Komal, that you were saying canine nutritionist, Kaki Ben's, some episode you were saying. I said you can always ask the dog if they like what you're giving them, what you're advising the parents to give them.
Yeah, so most times when I speak to animals who are being kibble fed, and they are always never happy. Most of the times. So that's why I anyways advocate fresh food for everyone. But most times they're like, "Arey, it makes us bloaty, or we just don't like it, or it's the same thing, or whatever their reasons are." But
So
most
even they
times,
need variety, Komal, food mein. Even dogs
not
they need.
necessarily. It depends on the nature of the dog, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like my own dog, he's happy to eat also because he's a Labrador, but also that's his nature. He's happy to eat whatever I give him, even if I'm giving the same food 4 times a day. He's just happy to get his food.
Acha. I wish like that was with Coco. He's very, very moody. Shih Tzus usually they say are very moody.
Usually
Why
have.
is that?
I personally think it's because small breed dogs, we usually tend to mollycoddle them a lot. Like, oh, my baby, this, that, given to all their tantrums. So it's in the temperament to just throw more tantrums then. So,
So they are pampered, and that's why. Look at this. This is coming.
yes.
What is he trying to
Hello.
do, Komal? Komal, say hi,
He's like, why did
Coco.
you take the screen without me? I need screen time too.
Yeah, he's like, you're connecting because of me, and I'm the one who will not make a
I
stage
should be the
presence.
star of the show.
I should be the star of the show. See, this is what he does, very naughty. But I love that he's naughty, Komal. I never wanted a Sida Sada dog. I love a dog who's very naughty, who's like demanding, ऐसे अगर साइड में कोई पड़ा रहता ना तो मेरे को मजा भी नहीं
You
आता. I will
will.
not lie to you. I'll get bored. I'll be like, you
That's
should
why
be
he's demanding.
demanding. अच्छा, Coco, say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi, Coco.
Hi, Coco.
Say,
Hi,
Coco, hi.
Coco.
Say hi.
Look at his face. Hi.
See, Coco, she's saying hi. Say, feeling shy. Yeah, so क्या बोलते. But even I recently now, strange that you mentioned about nutritionists, that you're a nutritionist also, because recently what happened, Komal, even Coco, I used to feed him raw, I used to feed him packed food since 1.5 year. And he's been getting lot of allergy. He's been itching, itching, itching in the old house construction. So then he was like, yeah, so then I started giving him fresh food.
Very, very, very important because
And
sorry, I mean, because we try to humanize them so much, but their digestive systems are way different than ours. So it's very important to keep them on track with their nutrition also for them to have a good long life without any issues, as many as we can avoid. It's
yeah,
always
that's
very important. Balanced nutrition is important for everyone. See, when they are in wild, like the dogs that were in wild, they used to get their own nutrition because they're so attuned to their body. They knew what they had to eat at what time and how much, and however they knew how to survive. These are pet dogs, they don't really know how to survive themselves. They can't do their hunting and eat what they want at whatever time. So it's very important for us to make sure that we're giving them a balanced diet.
okay. I had started giving him food, and I like some people they just feed vegetarian food to dogs. क्योंकि उन लोग खुद वेज होते हैं, उन caste does not allow. Like I'm a Jain, and so I have seen, there's a very funny episode. So there's this auntie in one of my buildings, like last where I used to stay. So she said, मेरा तो dog भी प्याज और लहसुन नहीं खाता, because she's a Jain. So she's like, my dog also doesn't eat, onion and garlic. So I was like,
Yes.
I didn't know. So do dogs feel bad that they cannot eat non-veg?
It's not about feeling bad or not bad. It's mainly about nutrition. A vegetarian diet will not give them enough nutrition as they are meant to have. That being said, there are times when I do provide an all veg diet because of the family constraints. I feel rather than refusing the parent that I cannot give a veg diet, I feel it's important to give them a balanced diet. So even if
Okay.
it's veg and I can make it even say 60 or 70% balanced diet, half the battle is won, right?
Yeah,
At
that's
least
true.
do what best given your parameters. I can do the best that I can for the animal.
Okay.
Of course, the best would be to give him animal protein.
Non-veg. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But since that is not possible, if I don't help you out with a vegetarian diet, you would still probably be feeding him doodh roti and doodh rice and all of that, which is completely bad. Or there are
That's
families
true.
who feed them idlis and dosas and all of that. So
Yeah.
they need
My
to
aunt
know.
does that. She feeds her dog dosa paratha. So I'm like, I don't know if the dog is liking it or not. Paratha
So
dosa, and I'm
that's
like,
because they don't know, right? They don't know
yeah,
any better.
yeah.
So I personally feel that fresh food over kibble, even if it's vegetarian, is better.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So anytime, even as a like, any people who's watching this also, it's always better to give them fresh food and be it vegetarian or
Definitely,
non-veg. The packed
definitely.
food
Like,
is as harmful. I felt so bad. 1.5 years I fed Coco all packed food. Yeah,
would you
that's
eat
true. No,
of
no,
chips
no.
or a
It
packet of
it
snack
makes you
every
feel
second?
so bloated and everything. So yeah, even I felt the same thing. And I just got this. I would say maybe Coco only said this to me recently. It was a very interesting episode, Komal. He was having allergy problem, and I was tired. I showed to two, three doctors, and they were like hypoallergic diet though. So I did buy hypoallergic again. Wet life the packed food for him, and he didn't eat. I felt so bad that finally I selected raw food for him, and I could actually make out the difference. So I prayed. I will not lie to you, Komal. I prayed in the night because I felt so helpless. I just prayed to God, please give me a solution. And I don't know what happened in the morning. I got up with this thought that I have to give him raw, because long
Yeah.
time back a friend of mine had suggested, and I actually that day bought it and I gave him, and now he's like gulping and eating properly. Abhi bhi thoda allergy hai, but at least he's eating properly. I can see the difference in him. Himself, he'll ask and eat.
See, for what I feel, the vets are not wrong when they, prescribe you some sort of food, because otherwise, someone with non-understanding of canine nutrition will end up feeding things that the dog will get more harmed by. So the vet wants to make it clear that you give only this food so that it won't make it like it won't cause more harm to your animal at least.
Yeah, and they'll narrow down also if it is food allergy,
Yeah,
because it's stopping it, then
they'll be
they'll
able
get
to,
to know.
yes. So they are not wrong in what they are prescribing on their part. Unless and until you come across a professional who's able to do it for you, it's a very, very difficult process to be able to gauge what your dog should be feeding. Or, like if you tell probably you tell my grandmother, don't give milk in roti, they'll be like, but we fed the dogs that only.
Yeah.
Right?
And they
So
lived
it's like,
long also that time.
yeah,
Us time they lived happily
yeah,
without any
yeah.
tantrums.
Yeah, so it's very difficult for someone to understand that why not this or why this. So on the vets, it's the safest bet for them to keep the animals safe.
Okay. So, another thing is, like when people come to you as like, as a client, like, are you always comfortable telling, even as a nutritionist, when people come to you to consult their dogs for nutrition and not really talking to animals, are you comfortable sharing with them that I can communicate with your pet as well?
Not always. I don't always do it. So usually most communication clients of mine don't know that I'm a nutritionist, and vice versa.
Exactly. So I was also wondering, I didn't know because I started off,
Yes,
as a this thing, but then one thing led to another. And obviously, I'm gonna come to you for nutrition now because
most
it's like
definitely.
it's like a synchronicity. Like one doctor had said that you have to consult a nutritionist. And I was like, a dog nutritionist kahan se dhoondu? Where will I find? I'll Google this. And we just started talking, and I was like, oh my God, this problem is also being solved here. So, that was
Yes.
something, it's very two different things, but it's so much easier as a person for that one person does both the things. And your dog, all thanks to Rocky, that you
Yes, all
learned
thanks to
this. Yeah, and it was like, he got you into this, and you're actually solving a lot of people's problems. I mean, I can
I'm
for
glad.
sure I could communicate with Coco, and now, even for nutrition, I'll be coming to you. So I'm like, oh my God, one step, it's like one stop shop for
I'm so glad
animals.
to be able to be of help.
So do you have only a dog, or you have a cat also?
There's a stray cat who comes to our window 3 times a day. Other than that, I do have a building dog who lives right outside my building. And then I do have another German Shepherd who's at my mom's house. So I'm always surrounded by animals.
You have to be. There's a reason why you can't communicate with them. And, it's like you will always be surrounded by
Probably,
animals. That is the thing. And
probably.
Any time, Komal, did you communicate with tigers or you went to a jungle and communicated with different animals?
One of our tasks during our course was to communicate with an orangutan. So I have done all animals in per se.
Oh, really? And what was it like communicating with a tiger or even a snake for that matter?
Everyone has a very different story to say, you know. It also helps you get rid of your own fear of that animal.
Yeah.
But I've never communicated with a snake, to be honest, because I never got a chance to. But yeah, everyone has a very different story to say. They're all, in fact, they're so much more sorted in their own head than us that it's we who are messed up. And they're like, we don't really care about what your issues are.
I'm living my life. Live life
Yeah,
animal sized.
so they are very clear in their head what they want and what they don't want, or what's bothering them, what's not bothering them, what's important for them,
So,
all
Komal,
of
I have
that.
a very interesting question. So, when you're watching Animal Planet or Discovery Channel, and if there's any snake that comes via any animal, can you talk to them?
I will try next time I do that. I haven't ever tried it.
Because you said I haven't tried snake, you know. So I was like, oh my God. I mean, obviously, kahan se dhoondenge? It's so scary also. You'll be scared that snake is there or you'll be talking to that snake.
No, no, I do have people like the other communicators who have spoken to reptiles also. It's not like they haven't, but I personally haven't done it.
Okay. Next time we can try the Animal
I
Planet
will
thing, you
definitely
know.
and I'll update you
Next,
about it.
yeah, let me know. You're seeing a snake. I would love to see, you know, what a snake has to say and how do they perceive the world? How do they perceive human beings? It's so
Yes,
interesting to know what's going on in their head, you know.
of course.
So I think thank you so much, Komal, for coming. I had a fabulous time. I was nervous, to be very honest, because you
So
know,
was I.
and I was like, "Pata nahi, you know, questions likho, write your questions, know what you're gonna ask her next." But it just went on, you know, one after another. It didn't feel like an effort at all, to be honest.
I'm so glad.
So, any message that you would want to give pet owners? Any
um,
random anything?
One thing that I would say is always talk to your animals. Like, you know, make sure you are able to put it into words what you are feeling for them. They always feel good about it. So
Perfect.
even if you don't understand, like even if you think that my animal is not going to respond back to me, but just make sure you are always, even if it's just a simple "I love you," just make sure you're looking at your dog in his eyes and saying, you know, "I really love you." It just makes them feel very good.
Yeah. I think yeah, that's a very good suggestion because so many times people are so confused that is they love their animals, but they don't know if the animal is able to understand them. So they don't
Agreed.
communicate only. So just
Agreed.
that,
Agreed.
you know, through this they'll know, okay, okay, fine. I mean, even if they don't understand it, they should always just say I love you to their animals, you know, even if
True.
as humans are not able to understand, but
Of
for sure
course.
tell them, you know, because they
Of
are
course.
listening and understanding.
Of course, they're always listening. They're always watching you. You are their entire universe, you know. So they're always watching you. They're always listening to what you're saying. So it's always nice to just tell them a simple good night or I love you or whatever, you know, just whatever makes you feel comfortable.
That's so sweet. So on that note, I think we can wrap up. Thank you, Komal. And I'll
Thank
be
you for
seeing
having
you
me.
soon. Most welcome.
Definitely.
It's actually my pleasure. You know, I got to spend time with someone doing something that I love and I'm so excited about, you know. So it's a it's actually been a pleasure to have you here and know you also, to be honest.
Thank you so much.
So your
So much.
overall energy is also very positive and good.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care, Komal. We'll be in touch then. Okay.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.